the most seismic shift in home security since the ancient Egyptians invented the pin tumbler lock 3,000 years ago. The concept of what makes a house a home has developed over the millennia, from basic caves and rudimentary shelters through to solid constructions of first wood and then bricks and concrete. The human race has grown to expect increasing levels of comfort and amenity from the buildings we call home. Today, our houses are the people who live in them, but large or small, contemporary or traditional, they all utilize one incredible material: glass. Glass is an amazing solid with an unusual molecular structure. It doesn't have the rigid crystalline makeup of a stone, but molecules aren't as loosely arranged as they are in living things. And because of this quirky makeup, it's an extraordinary building material. Made by melting the silica in sand at very high temperatures, glass is the mainstay of any house building. But its origins lie way back in centuries past. Ancient Egypt was one of the first civilizations to use man-made glass. Thanks to its ready supply of raw ingredients, early glassmaking was small scale, producing nothing more than beads. But when the Romans conquered Europe and North Africa, they had the skill and vision to grasp the true potential of glass as a raw material, using it to create vessels, jars, and bowls. They even stretched pieces of molten glass to make windows, bringing something new to the home: light.
Roman houses generally had quite small windows. Once they got confident in glazing them, they could light up interior spaces.
These early windows cast new light on what a home could be. But it was difficult to see clearly through thick panes hand-crafted in rows of glass. Well, 4th century AD, the Romans realized that the power of glass made much clearer windows. To make window panes, the blown glass was shaped into a cylinder. The top was sliced off, and a crack formed in the side. The result is a curved form of glass, which was then briefly reintroduced to the process of allowing it to flatten to form a thinner, purer pane of glass. At the dawn of their empire, no one had window panes. But thanks to the efficiency of Roman infrastructure and mass production, glass windows became a common feature of their houses. The Romans did create colored glass vases and jars, but their windows were made from almost colorless panes. It wasn't until 700 years after the fall of Rome that the potential of stained glass windows was fully realized. Medieval churches and monasteries across Europe were bathed in light from their colorful panes. And it's possible that builders, inspired by their beauty, began introducing glass windows to homes. But the enormous plate glass common today was only made possible by steam engineering brilliance in the 20th century. Today, it's possible to manufacture enormous window panes of up to 15 by Minoans had water supplied to their homes throughout the year, the bone-dry summer months. But they were also the first known civilization to engineer another home convenience.
I think around the modern world, what we're really looking for in terms of water management and flush away certain substances. And I think it's fair to say that
Water was poured through a hole in the floor immediately outside the toilet door, while an underfloor channel linked the hole with a vertically placed pipe under the seat and into a system of sewage pipes outside the property. The forerunner of the toilet as we know it today, the water closet, was invented in England in the 1590s. But incredibly, the Bronze Age version was improving the homes and lives of the Minoans 3,000 years earlier.
this really is hydrology coming up face to face with civil engineering and producing a system of water management that is incredibly sophisticated.
A need to keep warm was one of the primary impulses that drove our earliest ancestors to build shelters in houses. On the journey from cave fire to the automated modern heating we enjoy today, there have been many monumental breakthroughs.
Well,